This is Grizz's workshop. This scruffy-looking mofo is Grizz.
Not an expert, not an exemplar of safety. Proceed at your own risk.
Push sticks. The little stick that comes with every saw you have, so you don't cut your fingers, so you push something along with your push stick. These are the ones you typically get. This is a slight upgrade, and then you can upgrade to these type here, which I think are much better. But I like the novelty ones, the silly ones, Star Wars ones especially. They look amazing. But if I could have any of them, they're the best one you can have. The best commercial one out there is definitely the micro jig push block. I've seen it. It looks the safest, but it's expensive. By the time it comes over to the UK, it's like 63 quid for one. So I'm not buying one of them. Anyway, I like to make my own, and I wanted to make my own novelty one. So I decided I was going to make one that was bird themed, which is very much what I make. I make birds. This is my design, a swan. So I had to make some changes. The first thing I decided to do was to cut his neck off. This was, as I can show you on the screen now with these sophisticated graphics, was to drag the head further that way. And then when I had this cut, I decided to do an outline on a board, but it wasn't as big as I'd like in the end from an A4 sheet of paper, so I just traced around it and widened it a bit. I wanted the neck to be wider as well. I'm showing here the main benefit for moving the neck that way. When it's done, your fingers aren't as close to the bottom as they would be if the neck was as long as it originally was. So you see, by moving up there now, your hand is much further up away from that table saw blade, which I'm expertly drawing. So off to my bandsaw to cut the bird out, but first start off with the wings. Now the wings, I'll show you what they're for later. So here I'm just cutting the outline of the swan. Simple enough to cut out on a fresh bandsaw blade. I took it to the bobbin sander just to smooth those edges down, especially the insides, and then onto the belt sander on the bobbin sander, which is much more aggressive and better on those outside lines. Smoother transition there. I try to put a bit of a shape on it as well, just because, well, I don't want it to be too flat. Quick sand, I've got all the dirt and the pen off, and you see I've done both sides there of the wing, and the idea is that that middle bit will hold this foam. This foam will help grip the board. Also, it'll cut very easily, so it won't do any damage to the blade. And on the outside I put further grip. This is grip tape. I love this stuff. I use it in lots of things. It's very grippy. Just basically sandpaper. And I want a little bit of a ledge to push with. I started off by putting it on the wrong side. This is going to be a moonwalking swan that goes backwards, so it needs to be on the front. But it doesn't matter if there's a hole in the back, Every swan needs a bum hole, or a kawaka as it is. Now, bringing out the power file now just to shape some of those edges, make it look less square. And come in with a final sand, first of all at 60 and then at 120. This is a workshop tool, it doesn't really need to be that smooth or that grand, but I just want to stick some wax on it. Quite heavy here, perhaps I used a bit too much. It was a hot day, I was expecting the wax to melt a bit more than it did. Just finish off with a rag there. And I'm going to test it out. This is the first cut. Got the swan handy. And just help finish the cut. In fact, that first push knocked that block I have on the back, that thin bit of ply that I have on the back snapped, so that was no good. But thankfully the grip from the rubber and the tape was good enough to finish it off. Now this is a bit of a sketchy cut, so I didn't have it all the way to the fence when I cut it there, but just as the table saw was handy. I just cut a thicker bit stock, put it on the front, and now it's got a thicker stop. It's working perfectly fine. Try it on a different bit of board. And that backwards swimming swan does a great job. Allows me to put a lot of downward pressure and forward pressure, and it keeps my fingers well away from the blade. Let me know below what your push stick's like. Thanks for watching.
See you next time on Grizz's Workshop.